What's up, everybody? Welcome to our first chat about WandaVision. On this show, we're going to be going over spoilers. We're going to be going over Easter eggs, hopefully, the things that we can understand. We're just going to try to make sense of all this, so stay tuned for all that. Welcome back to the show, guys. We are happy to be here. If this is your first time on the show, we talk a lot about collecting on this show, as well as going over TV shows that we get into. We've gone over The Mandalorian. This time we're going over WandaVision. So if you're into that kind of stuff, make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you can stay up to date on all of the content. And with me breaking this show down is my brother from another mother, my man Seth. What is up, bro?
What's up, everybody? For all those that are in the chat right now, watching or commenting or just whatever in general, I hope you are just as equally as confused as I am.
All right. And, of course, we got my man, the Raging Mando, in the house. What is up, Frankie? How are you, man?
What's up, brothers? How are we doing?
Good, man.
No, good. Glad we're finally all together because help me make sense.
Yeah, I know. We got a lot to talk about on this.
That's going to be the reoccurring theme, is sense.
But hopefully, to help us with that is the wise old wizard. What's going on, man? How you doing, Craig?
Doing good. Glad to have the crew back together. Missed everyone, and sad Nilda couldn't make it tonight, so we missed you, Nilda.
Nilda's feeling a little bit under the weather. She will be here for the next episode. I was kind of hoping that she would be here. It's because I think I'm going to go over that in just a second because I'm about to ask the question. Going around the table, what do you guys think about the show so far?
I think, well, I can't speak for everybody, but I can speak for myself where I'm totally lost. Mm-hmm. I feel that it's hard to get a direction of where the show is going, what the story is. Well, I shouldn't say that because we have somewhat of a idea of what the story is. We just don't know how exactly it's going to play out. And I'm trying to keep an open mind. I really am. I'm trying my best to keep an open mind. All right. I have a feeling that it's gonna take a couple of more episodes to make sense. You're gonna have to keep watching until and maybe hopefully it'll make sense at some point.
What about you, Frankie?
I'm liking it. It's just I imagine it's one of those things like if it was Star Wars, I would be all over whatever Easter eggs are all over the scene, But Been out of comics for so long, kind of lost, have to rely on other stuff for Easter eggs information. But third episode definitely picked up. It definitely feel like it's going somewhere. And you got to trust it, right? It's Marvel.
Yeah, true.
Yep.
Now, Craig, I know you and Nilda feel the same way about this. You're liking it, right?
I love it. I see a lot of criticism. It's dumb, it's boring, or whatever. But I love the fact that. All right, so whenever I say it's smart, I'm saying it's smart for Marvel. I'm not saying it's Shakespeare. I'm just appreciate the fact that they've gotten out of the Earth's in danger. The entire world's going to end. Oh, here comes the Avengers. Boom, explosion, fist fight. Let's just yeah. I like the fact that we got something that makes you think. Everybody's talking. As Frankie said, I liked the first two episodes, but when I started seeing some of the YouTube breakdowns, gave me a deeper appreciation, for what's going on. So now I really appreciate that, like, almost everything they do has a meaning or a purpose.
Right. Yeah. I'm, like when I first, you guys see my reactions, but so when I first saw the first two episodes, I was in a state of what the fuck did I just watch? I just, I thought that it was funny, but I was like, I didn't know what the hell was going on. And then we had a commenter leave a comment, giving me a quick synopsis of the House of M. So I've been like heavy into that for the last, 2 weeks and been reading the hell out of that. And in doing so, it's making me hopeful for what's going on. And I definitely liked the last episode. I wouldn't say that I dislike it. It just wasn't what I was expecting. So, and if you look at it in a totally different way, not a superhero TV show, it's actually really freaking good. So,
yeah. You got to drop expectations.
Yeah, I have to wonder how the younger crowd takes it because, I remember watching that stuff as a kid, with my parents because they liked that. It's obviously it was the reruns,
right?
Except for Craig, I'm sure he watched it when it first came out.
But, well, he is the wise old wizard.
That's good.
You know what? In Craig's defense, Frankie, not everything can be about Boba Fett. Okay.
Oh.
I know, it's true. But you have to wonder how they're taking it, because they don't. I mean, it's not something they grew up with, and that was some very, very cheesy stuff back then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, that was again just like today. That was what was considered acceptable back then in those times.
Yeah.
That was what was deemed socially acceptable. Whereas today's times is it's just whatever Well, I can't say it's really whatever you want to say anymore. That kind of went out in the 90s. Today everything is just more PC, very politically correct. So
yeah.
It's
So
very
I was-
sitcom-y.
I'm
Yeah, it
53, born in 67. So in the 70s, when we were kids, there wasn't a huge backlog. So the Leave It to Beavers, Little Rascals, Three Stooges, that was the, I guess, friends of today, whenever you look back to classic TV, so Dick Van Dyke was not something that I ever watched, that style show or whatever, some of the 50s stuff, but late 60s was definitely.
Well, see, for me growing up, I was pretty much raised by my grandparents. They would drop me off at my grandparents' house, after school and that kind of thing, and that's all she would watch is I Love Lucy, the Brady Bunch,
Bewitched,
Leave It
I
to
Dream
Beaver,
of I Dream of Jeannie.
all of that. Yeah, it was just like. And there was one TV in the house, so you sat down with her and you watched what she wanted to watch, just because that's what it was going on.
Right.
And I loved I Love Lucy. That shit had me cracking up when I was a kid. So so I could get into the jokes that were being thrown here and what was going on. It's just like when you go from Endgame and then you go to this, I was like, whoa, it just threw me like way out of there,
Well, going into it, I was like, this is either going to be brilliant or stupid. And that seems to be still how people, I like it. Other people are going, this is stupid,
Right.
Yeah.
So, but I thought it was going to kind of be universally either a flop or a hit. And it seems to be, I don't know if it's 50-50. Yeah, right.
It feels like there's a divide. Yeah.
Right.
Well, either way, they're talking about it.
Exactly.
That's true.
That's the whole thing. That's the whole thing. Well, what do they say? There's what is it?
Bad publicity is good publicity.
Yeah, exactly. Either or, And it's funny too because I bet you like a lot of people are watching this right now and they're probably like, "Oh, I'm waiting for Seth to say it's stupid." I'm not going to come out and say it's stupid. I think I've matured a little bit in that aspect, and I'm not going to come out and not say something's really stupid until I
matured since yesterday.
Well, I didn't say it was stupid.
No, I'm just messing with you.
I just I want to give it its just dues.
Right.
So I'm gonna try to watch it through and everything now. Am me like most people? Are we having a hard time like what's really understanding what's going on? Of course. Obviously, like you said, the House of M, series has maybe a little.
And there's
bit,
there's more than just that though. Now the House of M is what it seems like that they're planning on doing. Like it's going to be like a MCU version of that. But there's other comics that I'm not even going to go into reading. It's because some of that stuff that I saw that it's relating to, I'm okay with not reading. The whole them living in suburbia stuff. I don't need to read a comic about that.
Yeah, everyone's trying they're trying to their best to make sense of what's going on. Am I finding it entertaining? Yes. Are there some parts that make me laugh? Absolutely.
Yeah. There are.
Yeah.
There absolutely are. So let's start off from the beginning.
There's popcorn TV or popcorn movies, and then there's ones that are not.
Yeah.
And it's like Marvel's usually just the popcorn. It's not like you got to be too terribly mentally invested into it.
Right.
I like the fact that you all right. So like outside of Star Wars, the original trilogy, which I've seen a bajillion times, I'm not one that goes back and watches things over and over and over again. Even Mando, I've seen it, some episodes a couple times, but this I'm intrigued to go back and look for all the little Easter eggs things, once I see. So.
Yeah, I've actually watched a few of these episodes a couple of times already. Mm-hmm. But I do that even with the other Marvel series. I think the thing with the MCU is that it's been kind of its own thing, and then this one here has a lot of homage to the comics. So if you are somebody that has read the comics and has been invested in the comics like all your life, you are probably getting a whole lot out of this.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? Kind of like how we were when we were watching The Mandalorian. We were like, oh, it's Boba Fett, and you just you get these references where as we're sitting there, we don't catch it right away, but then, we go back and we research it, and then we're like, okay, that's cool, and you get back to that.
Freaking Boba Fett.
So anyway, this is the first time that we're talking about this. So there's been 3 episodes so far. They've been half-hour long episodes, which is kind of cool. It's because sitcoms back then were about 30 minutes. So
I would see it would be kind of hard for them to stretch that out until like an hour, though.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
Although I want them to, like on this last episode, I wanted more, especially towards the end.
Yeah.
But like I said, I want to get like start at the beginning, and then we'll go towards the end when we get back over there. The show starts off in, I think, would be the 50s, I would say.
Yeah.
50s.
Yeah.
The episode has a real feel for me of I got this thing, keep playing with it. Of the I Love Lucy show. That's the thing that just hit me when I first saw it. And then they put us in this real sitcom era that whole thing.
Somebody pointed out it's the Dick Van Dyke house, which I didn't know that. Because at the start of it, he trips over an ottoman and does like a what do you call it, pratfall roll.
Right.
And if you remember, Vision is carried her in and he phases through it.
Yes, that's right.
It was a little homage to that.
True. I just, the reason why it hits me as I Love Lucy is the way she plays her role, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think she does it really well.
Yeah, I think it flip-flops back and forth just in that time era, though.
Yeah, it's because she's a it was, I would say it was kind of like almost felt like I was watching like a mix of I Love Lucy, and I can't tell whether I feel if it was I Dream of Jeannie or Bewitched, because obviously he comes into the kitchen and she's there, she's like doing stuff with her hands, and dishes are floating around, and and all that stuff, and it's like, okay, it's like, I mean, I get it. But and then of course they go into the thing with the heart on the calendar, and they're trying to make sense of what the significance of the day is and everything like that,
and the whole cute banter that they're having.
Yeah.
Which to me, I felt like, what? Because that really felt cheesy.
It's like, even if it was very much for the time era.
It is.
Yeah. They're staying true to the humor and the campiness of that time frame. But as it progresses, you get appreciation for things that were said previously. Like she says, "Oh, my husband and his indestructible head."
Yeah.
So there's meaning to that you didn't realize at that moment. That's like sad, actually.
Yeah, because of how he died, right?
Right. So she's wishing that was true. At that point, or whatever's happening in this. So
true.
Even things that are just frivolous, you go back and you go, "Oh, okay, I get
it's
that."
It's a play
now.
on words. Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm.
True.
And there's a ton of that going on if you pay attention.
I agree. Like even like some of the scenes, like the commercials, like the first that's something else that threw me off too when they came in, because the commercial popped in and I was like, what? And then when you first see it, you see that it says Stark Industries made this toaster. But the funny thing about that is that in the comics they often refer to Vision as a toaster. Mm-hmm. So and Stark made the toaster. So Stark made a Vision. So I thought that was a pretty cool little thing there.
You see that with the noise that the toaster made? It's the same sound that the missile.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So even if you don't like it, it's extremely thought out. Whether you can say, well, it's thought out and I don't like it, but they're not going through this haphazardly.
Yeah, there's
like
things.
You pointed out in the chat, like their acting is spot on about it too for that time era.
Yeah, I mean, and I thought that was pretty interesting with this, is that it, like, I in my opinion, I feel like they play these roles here even better than they play the actual superhero roles.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I wouldn't go that far.
Man, I think they do, bro.
I think it's better acting.
It is. They pull the humor off really well. I feel like the chemistry between the two of them is working out. Mm-hmm. And even as they progress through the eras, they're playing those roles very well. Yeah. And she's cute. She is.
Doesn't hurt, huh?
No, it doesn't. No, she pulls off the cuteness really well.
She's the prettiest of the Olsen sisters.
Right. Somebody had made the comment and said, I feel as if the actors are sold out to what they're doing, that they're totally invested, and I was like,
Yeah.
I believe that. I see that. This
Yeah.
could come across even dumber, in some of the campiness if they didn't get it,
Right.
what they're trying to achieve. If that makes sense.
Right. And on this episode, go ahead, Frankie.
I was just gonna say that, like, even with that part, and then you switch over to where the today part of the show, like it feels like a movie. It doesn't feel like a TV show.
What do you mean?
Just like with the quality of the show, the cinematography and everything.
Oh, the cinematography, yeah.
Like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., you could tell that was a TV show, right?
Yeah.
That feel,
Right.
When it cuts to modern time in this show, it feels like a Marvel movie.
Yeah. I think that's something Disney's doing pretty much across the board with a lot of their TV shows. These big ones, anyway. They're taking them very seriously. They're giving them movie budgets, writers and all that. And they're bringing in all these good actors to play these roles. So that's cool.
Doesn't hurt that Disney has a monopoly on it anyway.
Yeah, true. Well, I mean, we can't go to the theaters anymore. This is basically what we got. Yeah. So
Seth was mentioning stuff flying around, and I can't remember if it was you, George, that said that they're doing the classic like wire work there. They're not computer generating stuff.
Oh yeah, they're definitely shooting like old school.
Yeah, they're staying honest to whatever that episode was. So it's like the sets, for me, the sets are fantastic. The costuming's fantastic. Each episode, they have a slightly different mannerism appropriate to that era. They're honoring the stupid humor of whatever that era is. And anyway,
just like
to me, they nailing each.
Like when that plate shattered, you could tell that was reverse cinematography.
Yeah. And I like when they do when Vision does his phase through, they do the little stars, like they would in that era. That the minute I saw that, I kind of smiled,
Yeah.
So that's cool. So the main thing about this episode's the first episode was the whole dinner. There was everything else leading up to that. They had some play on words, then you had that commercial, and then a bunch of little Easter eggs. Like I think they had the wine bottle was something everybody kind of focused on. It was, I forgot. I think it's Latin or something like that, but it was a house
French or
of,
something.
It's like House of Contempt, I think is what it was. Which is an homage to the whole House of M series, and I think even the way the M is written on the bottle is similar to the way it's written in the comic. So I thought that was pretty neat. But really, that dinner was the big thing. And I love when they came in and you had that woman. I can't think of the actress's name, but from the '70s show.
Oh, Deborah Jo Rupp is her.
That's her name. See, that's why I have Seth here. Seth always knows these names.
Nice.
I am an encyclopedia of useless knowledge.
I am horrible at names.
Yeah, I can't think of her names, but I love that woman. She cracks me up.
Yeah, she's a trip.
She is funny as hell, man.
Yeah.
I got a sister-in-law that reminds me of her so bad.
Really? I would be smiling from ear to ear if I ever saw that. The minute she came through the door, I had a big smile on my face. So
and when he's choking and she went into the Twilight Zone, stop it. I think that was whenever I first went, okay, I'm hooked. That was the first one that, like, what's going on here? We got to.
It makes it real. It was all campy up to that point, and now it just got creepy.
Right.
It got creepy.
Right. Total mood shift, and I was like, we got a glitch in the matrix here. What's going on?
She's like, Vision, save him. Vision, save him. And he's just sitting there, and he's like, what do you want me to do?
Right.
Yeah, well,
it's like,
I think the whole thing there was that she subconsciously, I think it was like giving her showing that she could not save Vision. Like she was incapacitated, and then you had Vision there, and Vision died, from Thanos. Choke holding him and then pulling the stone from his head, but he was choking him while that was happening. So I think that was the whole choking thing there.
You think that was the significance of that scene?
That's the significance of that, I think.
Yeah, because everything's going to tie back to something she's gone through.
Right.
He was rattling the thing. Who are y'all? Who are y'all? What are you? Give me history. Blah blah blah. So she
couldn't think of nothing.
Right.
Because there was nothing.
There was nothing.
So it ruffled the illusion. So.
Yep.
Yeah, and you notice that as it continues on, anytime that she's put in a situation where she feels uncomfortable or she loses control, everybody else in the realm is affected by it, and she is too. So that's pretty interesting. What do you guys think? Even coming out of the first episode, do you think that somebody is doing this to her, or is she doing it to herself?
Well, you have to think that somebody's doing, or they think somebody's doing it to her.
I think she's just in a. I think she's in a. I think she's like in a trance of some sorts, and she's like in a deep. She's like in a deep sleep or something, and they're obviously they have devices hooked up to her, and they're reading her brainwaves, and this is her just playing out, her dream, her dreams. That's what I think. I mean,
we're getting mixed messages on that, and the thing that I kind of was chewing on, I was like the power of suggestion thing, that maybe somebody suggested to her this, because you get the radio messages, who's doing this to you? But yet her actions are she's doing it,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and then you have at the end of the first episode, they give you that whole thing that it looks like somebody's monitoring her, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they have that old school controller that goes with the TV and everything.
Yeah.
Right.
So it made me feel like, okay, at first when I saw the first episode, I thought, okay, maybe somebody has her. But, as we go progressing later on, my thoughts behind it change.
But was
whole
that
thing?
puppet?
Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, Frankie.
I was just thinking, like, whenever you see the town, it's got the bubble. It just reminds me of that scene with Thor's hammer, where they closed it off.
They closed it off.
Yeah.
Right.
And
The person with the remote, I was going to say, is that Puppet Master, or is that somebody trying to help her?
Right. Yeah, somebody just trying to see what's going on, and then we get introduced to that. Like in the second episode, they start to give us a little bit more of a clue with that, because now we jump 10 years, and the show seems to be more like, it definitely seems more Bewitched to me on that one. Especially like with all of the art styles that they chose to pick, like when they go inside a vision and you have that look of the way things are.
Right.
Yeah. I actually enjoyed the second episode
Me
more
too.
than I did the first one, because I thought that was funny. Like, that's why he never that's why he never eats. The works got gummed up. No pun intended. But it was funny, like, to see like how stupid he was acting, because the gears weren't moving inside of him, and and all that other stuff, and he looked like he was just basically inebriated at that point.
Yeah, he's drunk on gum.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we get those little things that start popping up that don't make sense in here. Like you have that helicopter that shows up. And it's got color. And then that throws her a little bit. And you see that you get the first image of the logo of Sword.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So then I was like, okay, maybe Sword has something to do with this.
Yeah. And that lady at the social club, when she broke the glass and you saw the blood in her hand,
and the blood was very red there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And see, even there, the way she says that in that scene there, she comes off and she says and that's when I first thought that maybe that she definitely, in my opinion, is the one that's in control of this thing. Is that Wanda there says, I'm not here to hurt. I don't mean you no harm. That's what she says.
She said, I don't believe you.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
So then the radio starts going off, and it's like, Wanda, who's doing this to you?
Yeah.
So it's like, is it somebody's doing it to her, or was that put in to throw us off to think that somebody's doing it to her?
So to me, that whole scene was the Crossbones, where she blew up the building, trying to make the best out of the situation. She contained Crossbones, that was going to basically suicide bomb everybody.
Yeah.
Okay.
In Ultron.
Yeah, I remember.
Remember, she tries to fling them up the thing, and
she threw him into
and
she threw him into the Wakandan building. Yeah.
To me, that scene brought to mind that scene in Ultron. She's like, to me, it was like a carrying guilt thing.
In Civil War, you mean? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, Civil War. Yeah, I mean, harm. We're not going to hurt anybody.
Yeah.
That she's carrying the conscience of the guilt of that still.
I mean, yeah, if you think about all the characters in the MCU, she has the most guilt out of like all of them.
Yeah, she does, for all the stuff that's happened, and she also carrying around a lot of pain. Because she lost her brother, and then she loses vision.
Yeah.
Which is probably in my mind what I feel is happening here, is that drove her mad, and then there's something that caused her to do this. That's the catalyst of it. Because in my opinion, like when she says, "I mean you no harm," I think what happened there was that. And it happens, occasionally throughout the show. The people that are in the town are captive, and they're aware of it. At some level of consciousness, they're aware that they're captive of this town.
Which kind of goes against what the House of M, right? Because like none of them are aware of what's going on.
Wolverine was aware of what's going on,
and
so was
the only one that knows what's going on.
Well, no, there was a girl too. There was a little girl that
there
knew
is?
about it. Yeah, and then there was a little girl, and then there was Wolverine, and then they start waking people up. That's how that worked out. But yeah, only Wolverine is aware. So yeah, it kind of goes against that. Which I actually like this a little bit better. It's because it's like, like you're in a dream. Sometimes when you have a dream, you're doing something in your dream, right? But you might have one where there's some part of you that recognizes that what's happening here isn't real, right? And then you wake up from it. So
somebody else pointed, I'm not going to claim things that are my thoughts that I got off a YouTube diagnosis, but they said, without jumping ahead and going to spoilers, whenever we go back to modern times and they show the sign of Westview, they said it's a real place, so that further cements or kind of puts you in that thing that this is a real place and these people are actually real people trapped. It's not, in other words, the town and the people are not all fictitious. There is a real Westview in modern times.
Right.
Yeah.
And she just has it. Like some of the things that I wish they would have done to help me accept where we're at the moment is probably have some moments of flashbacks or things like that, because I feel like okay, so she lost Vision, she lost her brother, and so she went crazy and put herself in this position or in this spot. So in other TV shows that I've seen, like or movies, let's say like the one that comes to mind is what the hell is it? Home Alone, right? When the family in the first movie goes to, I think they went to France. Is the
they went to Paris. Yeah,
Paris, right? Yeah. They're in the hotel and they're watching a TV show that's in black and white, and it makes me feel like when you go over there, the only American TV shows that they're going to have over there are these older TV shows than what the era is. So since she grew up in Sokovia, yeah, thank you. That it's possible that this is the stuff that she grew up on, and then in her mind is like, this is what a better world is like, what a better life is like than what she's living in at that moment, right?
And that makes perfect sense because of you saying that, because that's how she could be playing this out in her head, where she feels like she's in like the 50s and the 60s and and those types of eras. I do like the little Easter eggs though that they put in, especially on the in the second episode on the magician, what is it, the disappearing box, how it had the image of the stone, of the Infinity Stone right on the cover of the of the thing. I thought that was kind of cool. Yep, I was like, cool. Okay, I was like, it's an Infinity Stone art drawing thing. I was like, yeah, we get it.
Right.
That's pretty dope.
Yep.
Yeah. And there was others too. And that one, the commercial was the watch. And then you had Strucker. Right, yeah. And you had the Hydra logo there on the bottom. On the watch.
Unbelievable.
I forgot exactly what it said though. It had a saying on it. Yeah. All of them have like something like on the toaster. It was like "Look to the future." I think is what that one was.
Which that was what they said in the in Captain America when they first introduced Howard Stark, and he was in the World's Fair, and he goes, "Oh, look to the future with the floating with the floating car," and
And I also think it's kind of a message to her too. Because it's telling her, don't live in the past, look to the future, don't, that kind of thing.
Don't live in regret. Don't live in regret.
Don't live in regret. Yeah. And then the Strucker one had one too. Do you guys remember what the saying was on that one? Can't remember right now.
I don't.
Yeah. No. But it was funny that
time related.
Yeah, it's time related.
Melissa's sitting next to me on the couch. She's like, "What's Strucker?" And I'm like, "Yeah, we're done." I'm like, "We're done. We're done."
And that's something that they talk about in there too. That YouTube thing that I watched is like, there's always clocks around. So it's always about time. There's clocks in just about every scene. There's something to do with time.
It's a time heist.
I look back at that.
Yeah.
I like the nosy neighbor. I know everybody's thinking that she's Agatha, the witch, but I like her. She's funny.
Mm-hmm.
And definitely plays the nosy role pretty well.
Right.
Yeah.
I like how she talks about her husband too. It cracks me up.
We've never seen her husband yet.
Never seen her husband. Yeah.
Is his name Frankie?
Huh?
Is his name Frankie?
I think it's Frank.
Yeah, I think it's Frank.
Yeah, Frank.
And then the one that cut her hand, her husband, she comes in and she's like,
"Yeah,
this earring makes me look fat." The lights went out.
Lights went out. That's the third episode.
We're skipping episodes.
That's the third episode. But that cracked me the fuck up. That was great.
So like the wise old wizard below me, I did some research on my own, and one of the things that I stumbled across was Geraldine.
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 That's the daughter of
the girl that was in Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel.
Right,
So
yeah.
I'm trying to figure out how exactly she would tie into this, because in Captain Marvel she was just a little kid.
Yeah. So how much time
Right.
has passed?
well,
So
a lot of times passed.
Not really, because if you think about it, the snap.
Captain Marvel was in the 80s.
Captain Marvel was in the 90s.
Was it?
Yeah,
Oh,
Captain Marvel
yeah,
was in the
yeah,
Yeah, that's
supposed to
right.
take
90s,
place in the
yeah.
90s.
Early 90s.
Okay.
Right.
So
Yep.
exactly.
Never
Okay,
mind.
so
Yep.
so that does make sense
Forgot
then.
about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So that from what I've read and what I've seen, people are saying that that's supposed to be the daughter. The
Right.
daughter,
Monica
so-
Rambo.
So
Yeah.
the one at the
Yeah.
end of the first episode that's watching the thing on the TV. Have you heard who that's supposed to be? Speculation is right now.
No.
It's Darcy
Darcy.
Who?
Oh.
from Thor,
Mhm.
the funny
Really?
one. Yeah. It's
Oh,
supposed to be
really?
her. Yeah.
Hadn't heard that
Huh.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't heard that one. That's
That's
interesting.
interesting. I wonder how they got that. Was it they look at her hand and they're like, "Oh, I know that hand."
Only a
Right.
mother could love that hand.
Right.
That's funny. Huh? That would be
But yeah,
interesting.
we have and then I like how we had the they had the magician, the whole magician show.
That was great.
Every time
was
like
funny.
Vision would do something and people were like, "What the hell he's
Yeah.
doing?" And then Wanda would be like, "Oh, he's floating with a rope," and then like
Yeah.
all of a sudden the rope would be appearing, or something with the rabbit running out of the hat, and it was just funny. It was great how she was trying to like
Yeah.
cover up like what he was doing, obviously because he was gummed up the works.
Yeah.
But
He's an illusion.
Their
Yeah.
acting in that part was outstanding.
It
Yeah.
was. It was. It was so funny.
And that would be
was
an
great.
example that could be absolutely stupid if they weren't just totally sold out to what they were doing.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Yeah,
then
she
like,
pulled it off.
and then they open
both
up
of
the thing, and like all of a sudden Geraldine's in there, and she's
Yeah.
like, "1 minute I was backstage, the next minute I'm in
Yeah.
here."
Right.
She stood out like a sore thumb right away from me. His was like, I don't mean to bring this
Wow,
up, but
okay,
I mean,
George.
she did, but it's the truth. It's because like
Wow.
she's not that anything having to do with her acting and everything like that. But the minute she showed up in the show, I was like, okay, we're supposed to be in the eras. You didn't find black people on TV back in that
Right.
era of television. So it's like, I was like, okay, I was like, you're somebody important. The minute I saw her, So yeah. She stood out like a sore thumb right away.
Right.
So, and then that gets even proven later on. But yeah. So, then what? It ends with the
With her
beekeeper
being
scene.
no, it ends with her being pregnant.
Right, but the beekeeper scene. Yeah,
Yeah.
But she says that she's pregnant. They go outside because they hear a noise, and then you got that beekeeper scene. And then that, of course, is, at least to me, the minute I saw that, I thought AIM. But then it has they still have the sword logo. So, but the suit reminded me of AIM anyway.
Oh, and
then
they
she-
changed
there's
into
something
color,
there,
and they
though.
changed into color, too.
Yeah, at the very end they change in the color.
Yeah.
But she does the that's when it kind of to me is like, okay, you're definitely in control of this, is because she does the whole this is
rewind.
not what I want to see, and she does the
Yeah.
rewind.
Right.
I saw somebody had that AIM or sword, kind of
Right.
like their army looks beekeeperish. It's a big square
That
helmet.
would be
Yeah.
the AIM. That's the
That's
AIM.
AIM.
That's the AIM.
AIM, yeah.
AIM troopers.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
So
you have to wonder about the bees swarming around Sword.
Yeah, what is the
Yeah.
deal with the bees?
So there's something. Yeah. So it's like they're swarming around
Significance.
them. Yeah. There's something there.
And then the other thing that the reoccurring theme in that episode was the children. Well, everything was for the children. It was all very weird because, like, where were the children? Nobody had kids.
Yep.
You know?
Right.
Yeah.
Foreshadowing.
Foreshadowing that she wants to have a kid, right? So then she gets pregnant at the very end. So then it moves into episode 3, and then it's funny because
the beginning was hilarious of that.
yes. So the thing that threw my wife off with that one is like she saw the last episode, and then this one is obviously in color, and you see the beginning where they have the intro song, and it looks like they're riding a bike, they're doing this, they're doing that, and she's pregnant the whole way through. Like a lot of time has passed, and really it's only been the next day.
Yeah.
So-
That intro was very Brady Bunch,
Oh yeah,
Partridge Family, and when they got on the bike, it felt very Laverne and Shirl.
Yeah.
To me, and I'm like, oh man, I'm like, Schlemiel,
Yeah.
Hasselbeck Incorporated, we got
And,
away. It's like,
Mary Tyler Moore.
yeah.
yeah.
Mary
You
Tyler
know,
Moore
and
vibe.
it was great too, because then obviously that took place. That looked like it took more place in the 70s.
In the 70s.
Yeah,
The house
yeah.
reminded me so much of the Brady Bunch women. I saw the stairs and the way the backdrop was.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
They changed it, like the stairs would come down one way, you know, but it was like an exact copy vibe. You know, they nailed the vibe.
They
Yeah,
did.
they did.
And
Definitely.
the interaction in the beginning with Vision and the Doctor was hilarious, because he's like, "How could this happen? I don't what
When a
how,
man-
how?
When a
It
man
just
loves
happened." yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
Sing it, Seth.
Yeah, he's like, I don't have the genitalia.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
yeah.
You know, he's like, how did this happen?
Yeah, I like how he's all saying that the whole every month is a fruit, you know,
Yeah.
and then after
Yeah, you
she's
see
like, this line
Wanda's
of
face.
conversation is fruitless.
Yeah, you see
When
her
he-
face though. He was basically like, women are kind of stupid, so we
Yeah.
put it in a representation that they can
Yeah.
understand. And she kind of looks at Vision like,
That was the worst
Motherfucker.
pun. That I mean, like, listen, you know I'm the king of bad puns, but like that was a bad pun. He's like, oh look, I caught it. It looks like I'm gonna be a papaya.
A papaya.
And I'm like, oh my god. I'm like, really, dude? I'm like, come on.
He's like, I got nerves of steel. I'm like,
Yeah.
Right.
yeah,
But again,
Sounds good.
stupid humor. They
Yeah.
stay true to that
That era.
on the Brady Bunch. You know.
Yeah.
And then every second she turned around, she kept getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
You know.
yeah.
And then
what I
he's
was
like,
really disappointed in, they didn't break somebody's nose in that episode.
Right. The football.
That
right?
should have been.
No, that would have been. Yeah, she you know, and she's like, Vision, by calculate how many days you think it's gonna be, and he's like, oh, but well, she's like, well, at this point, by the time you're done, the baby's gonna be already here.
Right.
He's like,
Yeah.
I'm predicting Friday morning, you know, in 3 days, and she's like, you're early, and you know,
Yeah.
it's-
And you can see in this episode too that when she starts losing control because of the pain, that
Yeah, the
you know
labor
that
pains.
messes everything up in the realm
Yeah.
in the realm completely. You
Her
know.
control. Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
when
'cause
Herb
that's
is
still
going through
having
the
power
brick
outage.
wall.
Yes. See, that was really creepy too, man. It's because like when he starts cutting through the brick wall, and he's like, "Yeah, neighbor," you know, and he's like at the
pointed
Yeah,
out,
yeah, and Vision's like-
whenever so somebody
ahead,
pointed out whenever she has a something is
Distraction.
making her think about what's going on, it makes everybody else glitch because she's losing control of over them.
right.
Right.
Yeah. It was funny, Leah. Like the guy's cutting the hedges, then next thing you know, he's cutting into the brick wall.
The brick
and,
wall.
Vision's like, bro. He's like, you okay?
What are you
he's
doing?
he's like, yeah, I'm fine. He's like, what are you talking? He's like, you're cutting into the brick. He's like, oh, it's okay. And he just
Yeah.
keeps going. He just keeps
With that
going
weird
like it's
look.
nothing.
Yeah.
yeah.
He's got
Yeah,
that weird
Like,
look
like
about
almost
him.
like it's robotic in a
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
Yeah.
I had said earlier that the writing is not Shakespeare, and they actually reference Shakespeare when they're going back and forth between Tom,
names.
Tommy and Billy.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
perfect illustration to me of how they always dropping these little hints. Is he quotes Shakespeare and he's like, "All the world is a stage," and I can't remember the exact quote, but
Yeah.
actually go to the Rush song.
Everybody is players.
right?
Or
Actually
band.
go to Limelight, the Rush song, because that's what they borrowed the lyrics.
Limelight, the
Right.
glitter.
That's what they borrowed the lyrics from with Shakespeare. So, I mean, he's literally saying this is all a stage. It's
Yeah.
all.
And he actually becomes aware of it when he's cutting through the brick, right? Because then he comes up to her and he's saying, "Wanda, something's wrong."
Something's wrong,
And
yeah.
then
Yeah.
she glitches it
He
again
rewinds
and
it,
flips
yep.
it back. Yeah. So.
I don't want to
Yeah.
hear that.
Yep. So yeah, again, more showing that she has control of this.
And then,
So then-
Geraldine showed up.
Yeah, when he left to go, first she has her water breaks, and I was
Yeah,
like, the rain's in the house. I was like, okay, her
Yeah.
water broke.
Yeah, she's like, oh, I think my water
Yeah.
broke, and it's like, huh?
yeah,
And then it was funny too, like after they come at her from the table, and she's like doing the thing with the wind, and he's sitting there, and he's like, getting
So-
he's like getting all blown back and everything.
yeah, that was funny.
Yeah,
that was funny.
That was great.
That was pretty funny. So something that's happening in this episode is beyond the part of her having the kids is that she's thinking more of her brother in this episode, and that's why Vision, if you can see him, he's not phasing in this one. He's running fast.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and I think that's
Good
why
point.
they were
Yep.
doing that.
Didn't
So-
catch on to that one. Yep.
Well, that would also
Oh,
explain.
Nice. I didn't
explain-
catch that. Nice.
I didn't either.
Yeah,
Yep.
and that would also explain too, obviously, why she had the twins. You know,
Right.
she is
Well,
a
she
twin,
has the
she's a
twins
twin
in the
herself,
comics
yeah.
too, and they're named Tom. I think they're named Tommy and Billy also in that one.
Yes, they are.
So,
But
yeah,
I did.
so that's
Yeah, they
keep it
said
to the
there's
comics.
actually a tie to that with, I think Billy actually likes Shakespeare, and the book that's in the comic that he's reading is actually a quote. The quote is from that book.
Oh, okay.
I like how I always like how when they do TV shows and movies and there's always like a pregnant woman involved, it's just so convenient that the doctor is just out of town at that specific moment. And whenever that happens, it always makes me revert back to one movie, which is Knocked Up, where she's in the tub and he's like, oh, he comes to the house like, don't worry, I'll take everything, I'll call the doctor, and he calls the doctor and the doctor's like. And she's the house is like, oh, sorry, he's in a bar mitzvah in San Francisco, and he's like, and then he calls the doctor and he's like, yeah, guess what? Allison's pregnant. Guess what? He's like, you're Tupac, you're dead, he's like, when you get back, and it was just funny though. And it's like, how convenient that the doctor's car was broken down and he couldn't get out of the driveway.
But that's not convenient. They had nothing to do with convenience there. I think it's her.
Right.
Yeah.
Keeping him there. So I mean that's more of that they can't escape, and he even brings that up at the end. When he goes to leave, he says that whole thing like he's like something about Westview, you can't escape it.
Something about he said something about small towns you can't escape them.
Right.
That's what he said. That's what he said.
We got to go back to the stork. The stork.
The stork. Oh, that was great.
That was funny.
So what was it?
She froze and was looking, and I was like, "What's she looking at?" And then when that came on, me and my wife both just lost it.
It was good.
She's like, I want to sit down and tell you this story, and like,
Geraldine was great. That's her name, right, Geraldine?
Yeah, Geraldine, and she's like, and he was like, sit down, and I want to tell you about this story, and she's like, oh, I could tell by the look on your face you don't want to hear my story, and she's like, no, sit down.
My girl, go, come out.
Like, no, sit down.
Oh man! I also like that when she was losing control, she kept changing coats, and then she ends up in the fur coat. She's like, ooh, nice.
Oh yeah,
that was funny.
Yeah.
And trying to eat her pants.
She's trying to poof the.
But you know what I didn't understand, and I know it's something stupid, but like, obviously us being guys, and when things go wrong in our house, 9 out of 10 times we know how to fix stuff. So when she's like, oh, do you have a bucket I could borrow because all the pipes in my house busted? If all the pipes in your house busted, what the fuck is a bucket gonna do?
That's not the whole point. I think her thing was to be funny is that the house is flooded and she's trying to empty the house of water.
What is a bucket gonna do? Nothing.
Nothing.
It's meant to be funny.
Right.
No, that's not meant to be funny. That's just meant to be like, you know what? That's just poor writing in my opinion.
I don't think so. I think it's what the writing was like back then. That's supposed to be funny. I laughed. Yeah, I thought it was humorous that she was asking for that. And then she happened to hold the fruits. Oh, you got an apple, thank you.
Yeah.
I thought
completely oblivious to the stomach because that little small plate of fruit is going to cover up the baby bump.
Oh, but okay. So then you have the stork walking around, right? So then that, like I said, that was great. She throws the freaking fruit at the stork, and the stork runs off, and she can't make it disappear. So somebody brought up that, and this is like a far stretch. I don't even think this could possibly be that, but this one dude is trying to make Mephisto appear somewhere in the show, right? So he thinks that the stork is Mephisto, and that's why she couldn't make it disappear. I think that's just a really far stretch. I heard that on somebody's show. So
is he part of the storyline?
No, I haven't caught him at all in House of M at all. So I don't know if he's part of it in some way. Maybe in one of the other comics. Like I said, there's other comics that they reference in this show that I'm just not going to go back and read right now because they're much older.
Right.
But I think Chad had told me of a few that it goes into. Because I've already spent a lot of money on this House of M idea, man. It's a lot of reading, a lot of comics.
Are you going to be really pissed off if it totally goes the opposite direction? And it has nothing to do with House
I'm
of
actually
M?
enjoying it. I like it though. The story's good. I mean, it's definitely worth the read. So
another thing I cracked up laughing at the writing for, and y'all's wives are probably exactly the same. She goes into labor and the vacuum cleaner starts cleaning up the house. It's like, we don't have time for that,
Yeah.
And I was like, that is totally you. I'm pointing to my wife at the end of the couch, and she's dying laughing at it.
Well, everything is like losing control at that point. And Geraldine's like the most understanding friend, She's like running back, and the pictures are spinning, and the whole place is turning into some Exorcist type of scene.
Yeah. Right. She's like, I'll help you. She's like, I'll help you. Don't worry. She's like, oh, don't mind the spinning picture on the wall. It's all right.
Yeah. She's like, I'm sure there's a perfectly good explanation.
Right. But I think that's because, and we kind of touched base earlier when we were talking about that she's Monica Rambeau. I think she was sent in to help.
She was, I think so. Yes.
Right. So I think that's why she's not freaking out about the stuff. She knows who she is.
I think that she knows who she is at some level, because like in the House of M that happens too. So in the House of M, one of the characters, Captain Britain, is living outside of this reality, and like he lives in this realm where he can see all of the different Earths, right? Earth 616 and a bunch of all the others. So they recognize that there's a problem, and it's originating at Earth 616, and his upper level, I can't think of her name at the moment, tells him that if you can't control this, we're going to have to destroy that Earth to save all of the other realms. Mm-hmm. So he's like, no, I can take care of this. You can't do this. These are my people, right? So she's like, okay, you got 48 hours to go fix this thing. She's like, but it's a possibility that when you go to this realm, you're going to lose your memory too. So he goes there, and that's exactly what happens. He thinks himself to be a king of an area, and he just can't remember, what he was supposed to be there for. Right. Same thing happens to Psylocke and a couple other characters that come into that area. So
they have the information, but it's kind of buried.
It's buried, and then, and it takes them a little bit, but they figure it out. They start to wake up inside of there on their own. Nobody wakes them up. So I think that it was the trigger when she brought up Pietro that woke her up a little bit. Mm-hmm. And then it got really creepy.
Singing the Russian lullaby and
and the whole music tone and everything, and the neighbors outside talking about it. Where did this woman come from? That was creepy. Yeah. And she looked like when she came up to her and she's like, "What did you say?" And like her posture and everything, I thought she was gonna like totally rip her apart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then it was just funny because Vision runs outside and he sees the neighbors talking, and then they just start whispering, and he's like Vision just went into yo, you got a problem mode, what's your deal, you want to talk shit about me and my wife.
He's so nice about it though.
Yeah.
The commercial on that one was the bath and
the Hydra soap.
Calgon.
Hydra soap.
No,
Hydra
soap. Yeah. I thought that was funny. I like how they do that with the commercials. They put all these little in the windows. Do you want to get away from everything? Then use Hydra soap.
Right. Mm-hmm. So another reference that she's dreaming this away.
Escape reality.
She launches Geraldine outside of the realm. I do like that when she pops out of the realm, that bubble looks like TV, right?
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of cool.
But the funny thing is I thought when after she threw her out, she would get redressed into modern day clothes or something, but she stayed in the 70s attire. So it's going to make you wonder, did she go in there dressed like that, or really what the hell is going on?
See, and maybe that's the thing. Maybe everybody in this town is some agent or somebody working to try to get her out, and everybody's losing their mind when they go in there, so they keep sending somebody else in there to try to save them.
Yeah.
So then how did she get in and retain some memory of what's going on? Because she wouldn't have been able to ask about Pietro.
I know in the trailer they show something like that. I think in the trailer they show one where she's about to go in, and it looks like she's touching the screen. So maybe she has a flashback in the next episode. I'm kind of hoping in the next episode they move away from what's happening inside of the bubble, and then maybe do an episode where we see everything outside. Yeah. I need some outside because I need to know what the hell's going on.
Right. And they're going to have to at some point because, you can only string people along string them along for so long before they lose interest.
George is like, I like outies, not innies.
But I do, man. I'm getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning to watch this shit, man. Come on. Give me some more.
Throw the man a bone, damn it, Marvel. Yeah. Throw him a bone.
Right.
So...
I love the very simple, but I love the transition. You got the square screen, that and I actually Googled. I was like, when do flat panels come into play? And it's 1996. Right. So we're not to that yet, but they expand the thing, and you're going, we're transitioning to modern times or whatever. And typical Marvel, you would go modern times. They would put 2021 or whatever on the bottom of the screen. I loved how they represented it with the aspect ratio of TV. To let
it's even the color.
Yeah, right.
But even the color, when you see Geraldine jump, pop out of there, her color goes from super bright to a more muted color, more reality.
Yeah.
Which I thought was really cool too.
And then obviously when she got thrown, you all, like what Craig mentioned, you saw the Westview sign
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and it looked like it was beat to shit. It was all like covered in garbage and whatnot, and dirt and soot and whatever stuff attracts to signs.
I'm really interested to see where it's going to go. I know it's been a slow pace, and I think the show is going to be a slow burn, but I think ultimately it's going to be good. So,
I would like to hope that it builds up to. I think someone said 8.
8 episodes on this one.
I think
So the next one needs to
someone
be.
said 8.
Yeah, the next one needs to be a turning point in some storytelling.
Yeah, because you're at the midway. Yeah, because if that's the
Yeah.
case, you're at the midway point already, and you need to start. You need to start to get to the point already where you start the story starts to make sense. Like people are able to actually follow along and understand what's going on.
And we are in the greatest decade ever, the 80s. Thank you.
Yes.
Again, next one should be the 80s.
Yeah.
You got to wonder if they're going to do that, though. And then do you think the kids are going to grow up faster? Like, are they in the next episode? Are we going to see them being, like
Like in their
10 or
like
12?
teen, 10 or yeah.
Like a big jump like that.
Billy, Tommy, time for supper.
Yeah.
Okay, Mom.
They'll be the only kids in the town.
Yeah,
Huh.
yeah, exactly, and it's funny too because from the trailer and some other things, like they have like a whole Halloween thing
Yeah.
looks like.
Yeah.
So definitely be interesting to see how that plays out. Like if she actually visions more people to have more kids, or like you guys just said, is that town the only town with the 2 kids, and that's it.
Right.
So,
I also thought too the title. I always thought it's Wanda and Vision, but to me, it's changed the meaning that it's the world through Wanda's
through Wanda's
eyes.
vision, right? Even though it's spelled like WandaVision.
Right.
WandaVision.
Somebody else said like in the intros it had a bunch of honeycombs, so referencing
Right.
an aim.
Right? And then Geraldine had the sword logo, which I thought was an upside down cross at first, because that music that they were playing was very witchy. It's like
And which
demonic as shit.
and that would make sense why Geraldine is part of Shield, or so Sword, I should say, because of what happened in Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel.
So since it's supposed to be the space division of Shield, it makes sense.
Right.
I'm wondering if we're gonna get a Fury sighting at all.
It's possible. I'm wondering really more is she gonna bring back Pietro? That's what I want to see. Because she brought him up. She could resurrect Vision. So why couldn't she resurrect her brother?
Very true.
At least in this whole alternate reality.
Hey, look who came to visit, guys! Who? It's Uncle Pietro.
Right.
Well,
It'd
maybe
be interesting if that. Go ahead, Frankie. I'm sorry.
She kind of like already accepted Pietro, but Vision's a lot harder.
Well, it's been some time, right? What the hell is that?
Yeah.
Oh, my bad.
Going roller skating.
Well, yeah, but there was some time after Pietro died, right? So like he died in Age of Ultron, and then you had a lot of time actually for her to accept that Pietro's been dead.
Yeah, because you had that. Then you went into
Civil War.
Civil
War was afterwards.
Well, there was stuff in between Age of Ultron, and then it went into then it went into Civil War, and then it went from another couple of movies. Then it went into Infinity War,
right?
And then
then she
so I mean,
disappeared.
you had a decent span of years. So.
Right. Sometime.
Another thing that came to my mind in watching all this is to go back to that line whenever she first final battle end game, she lands and she's like, "You took everything from me."
Yeah.
It's to me the depth that that's what this is all about. She's got nothing left, so she's escaped,
right,
or been forced to escape, or whatever you want to, So.
Yeah. So I think it'd be kind of cool. And then if she does bring Pietro back, is it going to be the original actor that played it in Age of Ultron, or is it going to be the one from X-Men? Because that's another thing that people have been speculating, that it's going to be the I can't think of the guy's name either. Seth?
Who? Which one?
X-Men.
Oh,
Quicksilver.
that's
I don't like that dude.
Peter Evans.
Okay.
Peter Evans.
I don't like him.
I like the one from Avengers more.
Yeah.
But I like that one too, though. The other one's funny. That's what I like about him.
Yeah, I don't remember the guy from the Avengers, but I know he was what was it? Kick-Ass.
He was Kick-Ass, yeah.
Yeah, he was Kick-Ass.
Yeah. Right.
So, all right. Well, you guys got anything more you want to leave off on this, or we can wrap it up?
Well, I mean, it kind of commits him to the X-Men, right? So
Yes.
let's get that going.
So yeah, if they do bring that Quicksilver back, then that can make you feel like we're going to be transitioning in that way. But we're still way off from seeing X-Men in the MCU. So
I know.
But that'd be
We've
cool.
had a lot to talk about for a silly, boring show.
Hey, I don't find it boring. I just, it's kind of funny. We did, right? But we did have to go through 3 episodes too. I think on the next one it won't be quite as long. So
let's see.
Joe.
After next week's episode, let's see how long we can milk this one.
Hey, but this whole time, have any of you, besides you, Craig, felt like you need to put 3D glasses on to look at Craig?
That's why I wore it.
because the Marvel.
Holy crap!
That's why I wore it. It's a trippy shirt. Everything's
The whole time
not
I've been like, I need some 3D glasses like bad.
I don't get to see the TV because I'm looking at the camera. Separated.
Hence the bottle of wine called Troublemaker.
Perfect.
There it
That's
is.
my man Craig. All right.
What are you doing tonight? I'm gonna drink a smooth glass of Troublemaker.
All right. Well, guys and gals, I hope you enjoyed this episode. We will be back next week with another talk on WandaVision Episode 4. So make sure you tune in for that. And I will be doing a live reaction to that as well. Please tune into that because I'm getting up super early in the morning. That makes me feel like I'm wasting my time if you don't watch my show.
Yeah, you can hear it.
I watch it.
So, anyway, guys, thanks for joining us. Until next time, keep it marvelous.